Janice didn't even have time to react. The coffee hit the floor. The laughter echoed through the corporate lobby, and Madison Pierce, 22, rich, entitled, pointed her phone directly at Janice's face. "Smile for my followers, cleaning lady." The room went silent. Janice froze, humiliation burning down her spine as phones came up to record. And from the executive elevator across the marble hall, a man in a charcoal suit stepped forward. No one moved. No one breathed, because everyone in Pierce Industries knew exactly who he was. Herman Hopkin, the man who controlled half the city. Then, turning to the girl who just humiliated her, he said quietly, "Pick up that cup and apologize now." If you enjoy stories of justice, power, and unexpected romance, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. That's how I'll know you truly liked it. Even if you're watching on your TV, grab a second to join this family who loves emotional and dramatic stories. Your support means everything and helps us bring you even more tales like this. The marble floors of Pierce Industries gleamed under fluorescent lights that never truly slept. At 11:47 p.m., the executive lobby was supposed to be empty, except for security and the night cleaning crew. Janice Conroy pushed her cart across the polished stone, her reflection distorted in the shine beneath her feet. 39 floors of glass and steel above her, all belonging to people who'd never remember her name. She'd worked here for 3 years. Same shift, same floors, same invisible existence. That's how she liked it. No drama, no attention, just work. Collect the check, go home to her brother's tuition bills, and the empty apartment that still smelled like her late husband's cologne, even though he'd been gone for 4 years. Janice was kneeling by the fountain in the center of the lobby, wiping down the marble base when she heard them. Laughter, high-pitched, careless, cruel. The elevator doors opened and 4 young women spilled out like they owned the building. Because one of them did, or would someday. Madison Pierce, 22, daughter of CEO Jonathan Pierce, led the group, designer heels clicking against marble, phone already in hand, recording. Her friends followed like an entourage, all perfect hair and perfect teeth and perfect cruelty. "Oh my God," Madison said loudly, voice echoing. "Look, it's still here. I told you they had people who literally scrub floors with their hands." Her friends giggled. One whispered, "Madison, don't." "Why not?" Madison walked directly toward Janice. "It's funny." Janice looked up, heart already sinking. She recognized that tone. She'd heard it before from people like this. People who found entertainment in making others small. "Evening, Miss Pierce," Janice said politely, keeping her eyes down. "I'll be out of your way in just a moment." "Take your time," Madison said sweetly. Then to her phone, "See, this is what I mean. Some people are just born to serve, you know?" Janice's hands tightened on her rag. "Keep quiet, don't react. You need this job." Madison circled her slowly, phone still recording. "What's your name?" "Janice." "Janice," Madison repeated, like testing how it sounded. "Do you enjoy this? Cleaning up after people better than you?" One of Madison's friends tugged her arm. "Come on, let's just go." Madison shook her off. She was holding a to-go coffee cup from the executive lounge. Caramel macchiato, still full, still hot. Janice saw it coming. Some part of her recognized the look in Madison's eyes, that particular brand of boredom that turned into malice when you had too much money and too little consequence. Madison's wrist flicked. The coffee flew from the cup in a perfect arc. It hit the floor directly in front of Janice, splashing across the marble, across Janice's uniform, across her hands. The lobby filled with laughter. "Oops," Madison said, phone still recording. "Guess you have more work now. Better get to it, cleaning lady." Janice sat frozen. Hot coffee dripped from her sleeves. The smell was overwhelming, sweet and bitter at once. Her throat tightened. Her eyes burned. "Don't cry. Don't you dare cry." "Madison, that's messed up," one friend said. But she was laughing too. "What?" Madison shrugged. "It's her job. We're literally paying her to clean. I just gave her something to clean." Phones were out now, all of them recording. The video that would change everything was already being uploaded, captioned something clever and cruel. Janice reached for paper towels from her cart. Her hands shook. She kept her head down, focusing on the spill, trying to disappear into the work. Wait, Madison crouched down, phone inches from Janice's face. Smile for my followers. Show them what hard work looks like. That's when the air in the lobby changed. It wasn't a sound exactly, more like a shift in pressure. The way the atmosphere drops before a storm. The executive elevator, the private one that only went to the top 3 floors, opened with a soft chime. A man stepped out, tall, broad-shouldered, moving with the kind of confidence that didn't need to announce itself. Charcoal suit, no tie, dark hair styled back, face that could have been carved from the same marble Janice was kneeling on. Herman Hopkin. Everyone in the building knew the name. Most had never seen him in person. He didn't attend company events, didn't tour floors, didn't shake hands with employees. He existed in boardrooms and closed-door meetings and rumors. The kind of rumors that made people whisper, that made security guards look away when his car pulled into the private garage. The kind of rumors that said he owned more than just the businesses on paper. Madison's friends saw him first. The laughter died. Phones lowered slowly. Madison stood up, smile faltering. Mr. Hopkin, we didn't know you were still here. Herman didn't look at her yet. His eyes were on Janice, kneeling in spilled coffee, hands trembling around paper towels. He walked forward, slow, deliberate, shoes clicking against marble like a countdown. When he reached them, he finally looked at Madison. His voice, when he spoke, was quiet. The kind of quiet that made you lean in to hear. The kind that was more terrifying than shouting. Pick up that cup, he said. Madison blinked. I'm sorry? The cup. His eyes didn't move from her face. Pick it up. Mr. Hopkin, I don't think... Now! The single word cut through every excuse Madison had prepared. She bent down, fumbling, and picked up the empty coffee cup from the floor. Herman's gaze shifted to Janice. When he spoke again, his voice changed. Softer. Not weak, softer. Like anger held on a tight leash. Are you hurt? Janice looked up, stunned. Nobody asked if she was hurt. No, sir. He extended a hand. Janice stared at it, at the expensive watch on his wrist, at the scarred knuckles that told a story his suit tried to hide. Slowly she took his hand. He helped her to her feet. Steady, gentle, like she mattered. You're going to apologize, Herman said, still looking at Janice, but speaking to Madison. And you're going to mean it. Madison's face went red. Mr. Hopkin, this is just a misunderstanding. Apologize. His voice didn't rise, but somehow it filled the entire lobby. Or I call your father right now and explain why his daughter is banned from this building for the rest of her life. Silence. One of Madison's friends grabbed her arm. Just do it, please. Madison's jaw clenched. Then, voice brittle, I'm sorry. Herman's eyes went cold, louder to her, not to me. Madison turned to Janice, throat working. I'm sorry for spilling coffee on you. Janice didn't know what to say. Her whole body felt like static. Herman reached into his jacket and pulled out a card. Plain white, just a phone number. He placed it in Janice's hand, curling her fingers around it. If anyone gives you trouble, he said quietly, eyes locked on hers, you call that number. Understand? She managed a nod. He looked back at Madison and her friends. Leave. Now, well. They scattered like birds, heels clicking frantically toward the exit. Madison glanced back once, face furious and humiliated, but she didn't stop. When they were gone, the lobby felt impossibly large and impossibly quiet. Janice stood there, holding the card, coffee still dripping from her uniform. Herman studied her for a long moment. Then he did something that made her heart stop. He knelt down, picked up her cleaning rag, and wiped the remaining coffee from the floor himself. Sir, Janice whispered, shocked, you don't have to. I know, he said simply. He stood, handed her the rag, and for just a second his fingers brushed hers. Go home, he said. Take tomorrow off, paid. I'll have someone speak to your supervisor. I can't just... You can. His tone left no room for argument. You will. He walked back toward the executive elevator. At the doors, he paused and looked back. Janice, he said. Her name and his voice sounded different, like it meant something. Yes, sir. You call that number if you need anything. Anything at all. Then he was gone. Elevator doors closing, leaving her alone in the lobby with a soaked uniform, a white card, and the feeling that her entire life had just tilted off its axis. She looked down at the card. Just a phone number. No name, no explanation, but somehow she knew. Everything had just changed. Janice didn't call the number. By morning, she didn't need to. The video was everywhere. She woke up to 17 missed calls, 43 text messages, and her own face plastered across social media. Someone had posted the full clip. Not just Madison's version, the whole thing. Madison throwing coffee, Madison mocking her, and then Herman Hopkin walking into frame like justice personified. The caption read, "Keogh's daughter thinks she can humiliate a janitor. Watch what happens when the real boss shows up." It had 8 million views. Janice sat on the edge of her bed, hands shaking as she scrolled through comment after comment. Who is this man? I'm obsessed. The way he made her apologize? Chef's kiss. Someone said that's Herman Hopkin. If you know, you know. That janitor is about to have the best revenge arc ever. Madison Pierce is canceled. Good riddance. But not everyone was on her side. Mixed in with the support were the vicious ones. She's probably trying to sue for money. Gold digger. Bet she spilled the coffee herself for attention. Anyone who works cleaning at that age clearly made bad choices. Janice's stomach turned. She put the phone down and pressed her palms to her eyes. Her younger brother Danny knocked on her door. Jan, you okay? Yeah, she lied. Fine. You're viral, he said through the door, voice caught between concern and excitement. Like, really viral? I noticed. Herman Hopkin defended you on camera. Do you know who he is? Some businessman. Janice. Danny opened the door. He was 22, still in college. Still had that naive brightness she'd lost years ago. He's not just some businessman. He's like connected. People say he runs things in this city that don't show up on tax forms. Her chest tightened. Danny, I'm just saying, if he's on your side, you're protected. But if he's not, Danny trailed off. He gave me his number, she admitted quietly. Danny's eyes widened. And I'm not calling it. Why not? Because I don't need any more complications in my life, Janice snapped. Then softer, I can't afford complications. Danny sighed. You're too proud, Jan. I'm cautious. You're scared. He wasn't wrong. By the time Janice arrived at Pierce Industries that night, everything felt wrong. Security looked at her differently. Other cleaning staff whispered when she passed. Her supervisor, Margaret, a tired woman with graying hair, pulled her aside immediately. You need to go home, Margaret said. Janice frowned. What? Why? Corporate called. They want you off-site until further notice. I'm being fired? Suspended, pending investigation. Investigation into what? Janice's voice rose. I didn't do anything. Margaret's face was sympathetic but firm. Madison Pierce's family is claiming you set up the incident for social media attention. They're threatening legal action. That's insane. She threw coffee on me. I know, but they have lawyers, Janice. Expensive ones. The company doesn't want to be involved. Translation. The company was choosing Madison's family over her. Over the truth. Janice felt the floor drop out from under her. I need this job, Margaret. My brother. The rent. I'm sorry. Margaret pressed an envelope into her hands. 2 weeks severance. It's the best I could do. 2 weeks to find a new job, to keep Danny in school, to keep from drowning. Janice took the envelope with numb fingers and walked out of the building that she'd cleaned for 3 years. Out into the cold night. Into the parking lot where her beat-up sedan sat alone under a flickering light. She didn't cry until she was inside the car. Then the sobs came hard, shaking her whole body. Every injustice, every bill, every loss, it all crashed down at once. She was still crying when someone knocked on her window. Janice jumped, heart in her throat. A man stood outside her car, not tall but broad, wearing a dark jacket and an expression that was professional but not unkind. She cracked the window an inch. What do you want? Miss Conroy? His voice was calm. My name is Victor Chen. I work for Herman Hopkin. He asked me to make sure you got home safely. Her breath caught. How did you know I was here? Victor's expression didn't change. Mr. Hopkins keeps track of people he cares about. He doesn't know me. He knows enough. Before Janice could respond, headlights swept across the parking lot. A truck pulled in fast, too fast, and screeched to a stop behind her car, blocking her in. Victor's hand went to his jacket, not drawing anything, just ready. The truck door opened and a man got out. Janice's entire body went cold. Billy Wood, her ex. The one who'd put those bruises on her wrists years ago. The one she'd finally escaped. The one who showed up whenever he smelled opportunity. Janice, Billy called, walking toward her car. Babe, I saw you on TV. You okay? Victor stepped between Billy and her car door. Walk away, Victor said simply. Billy stopped, looking Victor up and down. Who the hell are you? Someone you don't want to meet. Billy laughed, but it sounded nervous. Janice, what's going on? You got bodyguards now? Janice rolled down the window further. Go away, Billy. Come on, don't be like that. I just want to make sure you're okay. That video, that was messed up. We should talk about how to handle this. Maybe get you a lawyer. Maybe get yourself paid, Victor said flatly. That's what you mean. Billy's face darkened. I'm talking to my girl, not you. She's not your girl, Victor said, and you're leaving, now. Or what? Victor pulled out his phone, tapped once, and held it up so Billy could see the screen. Whatever was on it made Billy's face go pale. That's your address, Victor said calmly, your work schedule, your parole officer's contact information. Leave now and none of that becomes relevant. Stay, and Mr. Hopkins makes a call you won't enjoy. Billy's jaw worked. He looked at Janice. This isn't over. Yes, Victor said. It is. Billy got back in his truck and peeled out of the parking lot. Janice sat frozen, heartbeat wild. Victor turned back to her window. You're going to follow me. There's a car waiting. We'll take you somewhere safe. I can't just, Miss Conroy. Victor's expression softened slightly. Mr. Hopkins was very clear. You're under his protection now. That means you don't go home alone. You don't face this alone. Not anymore. Tears burned in her eyes again. Why does he care? Victor smiled faintly. You'll have to ask him that yourself. He walked to a black sedan parked nearby. Another man was in the driver's seat watching her. Janice looked down at the card still in her purse. The number she hadn't called. She pulled out her phone and dialed it before she could talk herself out of it. One ring. Janice? Herman's voice came through immediately, deep, calm, like he'd been waiting. Her breath shook. How did you know it was me? I know everything I need to know. A pause. Are you safe? Your man, Victor, he's here. He says I need to go with him. You do. I don't even know you. Not yet, Herman said. But you will. Why are you doing this? Silence on the other end, then quieter. Because nobody else did. Her throat closed. Trust Victor, Herman continued. He'll bring you to me. We need to talk. About what? About what happens next, he said, and what I'm going to do to everyone who thought they could ruin you. The line went dead. Janice sat there, phone in hand, heart pounding. In the rearview mirror, Victor waited patiently. She thought about Billy's face when he saw him, whatever was on that phone. She thought about Margaret's apologetic eyes. She thought about Madison's cruel smile and the coffee soaking through her uniform. She thought about how no one had ever stood up for her the way Herman had. No one. Janice started her car and followed the black sedan out of the parking lot, into the night, into his world, into whatever came next. The black sedan led Janice through parts of the city she'd only seen from bus windows. Downtown, high-rises, streets where even the sidewalks looked expensive. They pulled into an underground garage beneath a building made entirely of glass and steel, security cameras tracking their every move. Victor got out first and opened Janice's door like she was someone important. This way, he said. They took a private elevator. No buttons. Victor pressed his palm to a scanner and the elevator simply knew where to go. Up, 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 until Janice's ears popped. The doors opened directly into a penthouse. Janice stepped out and her breath caught. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the entire city. Lights stretched to the horizon like scattered stars. The space was minimal, controlled, expensive in a way that didn't need to show off. Dark wood, leather furniture, art that probably cost more than her yearly salary. And in the center of it all, standing by the windows with his back to her, was Herman Hopkin. He turned when she entered. Without the suit jacket, just the white dress shirt with sleeves rolled to his forearms, he looked different. Less like a businessman, more like exactly what Danny had warned her about. Dangerous. Janice, he said, her name again in that voice that made everything inside her go still. Mr. Hopkin. Herman, he corrected. Herman, she tried. It felt too intimate, like crossing a line she couldn't uncross. He gestured to the couch. Sit, please. She did, perching on the edge like she might need to run. Herman poured 2 glasses of water from a pitcher on the counter. He handed her one and sat across from her in the chair. Not crowded, giving her space. You lost your draw, he said, not a question. How did you know? No. I know everything that happens in that building. Everything. Everything I need to. He took a slow sip of water. They fired you to protect Madison Pierce. That's unacceptable. Janice looked down at her glass. I'm just a janitor. She's the CEO's daughter. I knew how this would go. You're not just anything, Herman said quietly. Her eyes snapped to his. You don't even know me. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. I know you work 60-hour weeks. I know you send half your paycheck to your brother's tuition. I know you haven't bought new shoes in 2 years because you're saving for his textbooks. I know your husband died in a car accident, and you've worn his ring on a chain around your neck every day since. Janice's hand went to her throat, where the ring hung hidden beneath her shirt. How? I notice people, Herman said, especially people who work as hard as you do while everyone else looks through them like they're invisible. Her chest tightened. Why do you care? Herman stood and walked to the window. For a long moment, he didn't speak. My mother was a janitor, he said finally. Cleaned office buildings downtown for 20 years. She'd come home with hands cracked from chemicals, back aching, smelling like industrial bleach. People treated her like furniture, like she wasn't even human. Janice's throat closed. When she got sick, Herman continued, voice flat, the company she'd worked for refused to help with medical bills, said she was a contractor, not an employee. She died because she couldn't afford treatment. Herman, I was 17, he said. I promised her I'd make sure people like her never got treated that way again. So I built something. Power, money, influence. Enough that when I see someone like Madison Pierce spit coffee on someone like you, I can do something about it. Janice stood slowly. I'm sorry about your mother. He turned to face her. Don't be sorry, just let me help you. I don't need charity. This isn't charity. His eyes held hers. This is justice. There's a difference. She wanted to argue, wanted to say she could handle this herself, but the truth was she was drowning, and he was offering a hand. What do you want from me? She whispered. Herman closed the distance between them. Not touching, but close enough that she could feel the warmth radiating off him. I want you to trust me. Let me handle Madison and her family. Let me deal with Billy. Let me make sure you're protected while we fix this. And then what? His jaw tightened. Then you decide. Decide what? If you walk away, he said quietly, or if you stay. Her heart hammered. Stay where? With me. The words hung between them like a lit match over gasoline. Janice's breath shook. You can't just decide you want someone in your life because you helped them once. I'm not deciding, Herman said. I already decided 3 months ago. She blinked. What? I've seen you, he said. Every Tuesday and Thursday night when I work late, I watch you clean those floors like they matter. Like the work matters. Like you take pride in something everyone else looks down on. You smile at security guards. You hold doors for people who never say thank you. You're kind in a world that doesn't reward kindness. Her voice barely worked. You've been watching me? Noticing you, he corrected. There's a difference, and when I saw Madison humiliate you in that lobby, I realized something. He paused, eyes dark and intense. I realized I'd already decided you were worth protecting. The question is whether you'll let me. Janice felt tears prick her eyes. I don't know how to be someone's project. You're not a project. He reached up slowly, giving her time to pull away, and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. You're a priority. Her breath hitched. A door opened behind them. A woman in her 50s entered carrying a bag. She had kind eyes and a no-nonsense air. Rosa, Herman said without looking away from Janice. This is Janice. She'll be staying in the guest room. Janice's eyes widened. I can't. You can, Herman said firmly, and you will. Your apartment isn't safe. Billy knows where you live. Madison's people might try to intimidate you. Here, you're protected. No one gets past Victor. No one gets to you. Not until this is handled. Rosa smiled warmly. I've prepared the room, Miss Conroy. Fresh clothes, toiletries, anything you need. Janice looked between them, overwhelmed. This is crazy. This is necessary, Herman said. She should have argued more, should have insisted she could take care of herself. But the truth was, she was terrified. Of Billy, of Madison's family, of losing everything she'd worked for. And for the first time in 4 years, someone was offering to carry the weight with her. Okay, she whispered. Herman's expression shifted. Relief, satisfaction, something deeper she couldn't name. Rosa will show you to your room, he said. Get some rest. Tomorrow we start planning. Planning what? A slow, dangerous smile crossed his face. How to make everyone who thought they could break you regret ever knowing your name. Rosa led Janice down a hallway to a bedroom that was bigger than her entire apartment. King bed with white linens, attached bathroom with a rainfall shower, a view of the city that took her breath away. Mr. Hopkins doesn't usually have guests, Rosa said, setting the bag on the bed. You must be special. Janice shook her head. I'm nobody. Rosa's eyes were kind but firm. If Mr. Hopkins says you matter, then you matter. That's all there is to it. After Rosa left, Janice sat on the edge of the bed and finally let herself break down. Quiet tears at first, then full call that shook her whole body. Everything was falling apart. Her body, her safety, her sense of control. But for the first time since her husband died, she didn't feel alone. And that terrified her more than anything else. Janice woke to the smell of coffee and the sound of low voices. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then reality crashed back. Herman's penthouse, the video, Madison, Billy, everything. She pulled on the clothes Rosa had left, simple black pants and a soft gray sweater, and followed the voices to the main living area. Herman sat at the dining table with Victor and another man she didn't recognize. Laptop open, documents spread across the surface. They looked up when she entered. Morning, Herman said. His eyes tracked her movement across the room, watchful in a way that made her hyper-aware of everything. How she walked, how she breathed, how her hair was still damp from the shower. Morning, and she managed. Coffee? Herman gestured to the pot on the counter. She poured herself a cup with hands that were steadier than yesterday. Progress. Victor nodded at her politely. The other man, younger, maybe 30, gave her an easy smile. Janice, this is Marcus, Herman said. He's my attorney. One of them. One of them, Janice repeated. Marcus's smile widened. Herman likes to be prepared. Sit, Herman said, pulling out a chair next to him. She sat, cradling her coffee cup like a shield. Herman turned the laptop toward her. This is what we found so far. On the screen was a document. Multiple documents, actually. Screenshots, videos, testimonies. What am I looking at? Janice asked. Madison Pierce's history, Victor said. She's done this before, multiple times. Janice's stomach dropped. Done what before? Herman's voice was controlled but edged with anger. Humiliated service workers filmed it, posted it, made it into content for her social media followers. Marcus pulled up a video. A different girl, younger than Janice, crying in a restaurant bathroom while Madison's voice mocked her off camera. Look at her. She can't even handle a little criticism. So sensitive. Jesus, Janice whispered. There are 6 other incidents we've found, Herman said. 6 other women, waitresses, baristas, hotel staff, all of them humiliated on camera. all of them too scared or ashamed to come forward. Why didn't anyone stop her? Janice asked. Money, Victor said flatly. The Pierce family paid people off, threatened legal action, made the videos disappear, made the women disappear. But she messed up this time, Marcus added, grinning. She did it in front of Herman Hopkin, and now the whole world is watching. Janice looked at Herman. You're going to expose her. We're going to expose her, Herman corrected. With your permission. Her brow furrowed. My permission? This is your story, Herman said. Your trauma. I won't weaponize it without your consent. If you want this to stay quiet, we handle it differently. But if you want justice, not just for you, but for every woman she's done this to, then we go public with everything. Janice's heart raced. What would that look like? Marcus leaned forward. We contact the other victims. Get them to go on record. We compile all the evidence, all the videos, all the payoffs, then we release it to the press. Madison Pierce goes from influencer to pariah overnight. Her father's company faces investigations. Their reputation is destroyed. And Madison? Janice asked quietly. Legal consequences, Herman said. Lawsuits from every woman she's hurt. Possibly criminal charges for harassment and intimidation. Janice set down her coffee cup. Her hands were shaking again. They'll come after me, her family. They'll destroy me. They'll try, Herman said. And they'll fail. You can't know that. He reached across the table and took her hand. The touch sent electricity up her arm. Janice, look at me. She did. I don't lose, he said simply. I don't let the people I protect get hurt. I don't back down from rich families who think money makes them untouchable. If you do this, I'm with you every step. So is Victor, so is Marcus, so is everyone who works for me. You're not alone. Her throat closed. Why me? Why now? Why do you care this much? Herman's jaw tightened. Because I'm tired of watching good people get crushed by people who've never faced consequences. Because you remind me of my mother. Because when I saw you on your knees cleaning that floor while they laughed, something in me broke. And because, he paused, eyes dark and intense. Because you're mine now, whether you've figured that out yet or not. Her breath stopped. Victor coughed awkwardly and stood. I'll get more coffee. Marcus grinned and followed him. Yeah, me too. They disappeared into the kitchen, leaving Janice and Herman alone at the table. Yours? Janice whispered. Herman didn't let go of her hand. I don't say things I don't mean. You can't just claim someone. Already did. She should have pulled her hand away. Should have told him he was crazy. Should have run. Instead, she asked, what if I say no? His thumb brushed over her knuckles. Then I wait until you're ready to say yes. That's insane. Probably, he agreed, but I'm not changing my mind. They sat there, hands linked, while the city woke up outside and the pieces of Madison Pierce's downfall arranged themselves on the table between them. Finally, Janice took a deep breath. I want to do it. I want to stop her from hurting anyone else. Herman's expression shifted. Pride, satisfaction, something fiercer. Good girl. The words sent heat straight through her. Victor and Marcus returned, pretending they hadn't been eavesdropping. All right, Herman said, releasing Janice's hand and turning back into business mode. Marcus, start contacting the other victims. Victor, I want security footage from every location where Madison filmed someone, and I want the financial records showing the payoffs. Already working on it, Victor said. Herman looked at Janice. You're going to need to give a statement, on camera, telling your side. Fear flickered through her. I don't know if I can. You can, Herman said firmly, and you will, because your voice matters. Your story matters. And when this is over, Madison Pierce will never hurt anyone again. That afternoon, Janice sat in front of a camera in Herman's office. Marcus and a media consultant Herman had hired were there to help her prepare. Just tell the truth, the consultant, a woman named Angela, said gently. Talk about what happened, how it made you feel, why you think it's important for people to know. Janice's hands twisted in her lap. I'm not good at this. You don't have to be good, Angela said. You just have to be honest. Herman stood behind the camera, arms crossed, watching her with an intensity that should have made her nervous, but somehow did the opposite. It steadied her. She took a deep breath. Okay, I'm ready. The red light came on. My name is Janice Conroy, she began, voice shaking only slightly. A week ago, I was doing my job as a janitor at Pierce Industries. I've worked there for 3 years. I've never caused trouble. I've never asked for anything I didn't earn. And one night, Madison Pierce decided to humiliate me for her social media followers. She told the story, every detail, the coffee, the laughter, the feeling of being nothing in that moment. But that wasn't the worst part, she continued. The worst part was finding out I was just another target, that there were other women before me. Other women who were paid to stay quiet, threatened into silence, made to feel like they deserved it. Her voice grew stronger. I'm speaking now because someone stood up for me when no one else did. And because I want every woman who Madison Pierce hurt to know, you didn't deserve it. It wasn't your fault, and you're not alone anymore. When she finished, the room was silent. Then Herman said quietly, perfect. Angela wiped her eyes. That was incredible, Janice. Really? Janice asked, voice small. Herman came around the camera and crouched in front of her chair. Really, you're stronger than you know. She looked down at him, this dangerous man on his knees in front of her, and felt something shift in her chest. Thank you, she whispered. He reached up and cupped her face with one hand. Don't thank me yet. This is going to get harder before it gets better. I know, but I'll be right here. She believed him. That night, Billy called her phone 17 times. She didn't answer. On the 18th call, Herman took the phone from her hand and answered it himself. This is Herman Hopkin, he said calmly. If you call this number again, I will ensure that your parole officer receives a detailed report of your harassment. And if you come anywhere near Janice, I will handle it personally. Do you understand? Janice couldn't hear Billy's response, but Herman's smile was cold. Good, lose this number. He hung up and handed her back the phone. He won't bother you again, Herman said. And somehow Janice knew he was right. For the first time in years, she felt safe. And that was the most dangerous feeling of all. 3 days later, everything exploded. The video went live. Not just Janice's statement, all of it. Every clip of Madison humiliating service workers, every payoff receipt, every silenced victim finally speaking. The internet erupted. Within hours, Madison's social media accounts were deleted. Sponsors dropped her. The Pierce Industries stock dropped 12%. News outlets ran stories with headlines like Influencer's Dark Secret and CEO's Daughter Exposed. Janice watched it all from Herman's penthouse. Phone vibrating constantly with messages from reporters, former co-workers, even old friends she hadn't heard from in years. Don't answer any of them, Herman said, sitting beside her on the couch. Marcus will handle all press inquiries. It feels like the whole world is watching, Janice whispered. They are. Herman took her phone and set it face down on the coffee table. But they're watching you win. She looked at him. I don't feel like I'm winning. Give it time. That's when the building's security system beeped. Victor's voice came through the intercom. Boss, we have a problem at the front entrance. Herman stood immediately. What kind of problem? Billy Wood. He's demanding to see Janice. Says he's not leaving until he does. Janice's blood went cold. No, Herman's expression hardened. I'll handle it. Herman, please, don't. Stay here, he said, voice leaving no room for argument. He disappeared toward the private elevator. Janice sat frozen for exactly 10 seconds before she got up and followed him. Victor tried to stop her at the elevator. Miss Conroy, you should stay upstairs. He's here because of me, Janice said. I'm not hiding. Victor sighed and pressed the button for the ground floor. They emerged into the lobby. Through the glass doors, Janice could see Billy pacing on the sidewalk. He looked worse than she remembered. Unshaven, eyes wild, desperate. Herman walked straight out the doors. Janice followed despite Victor's warning the hand on her arm. Billy, Herman said calmly, you were told not to come here. Billy spun around. I need to talk to Janice. This is between me and her, not you. Everything about Janice is between me and you now, Herman said. Billy's face twisted. Who the hell do you think you are? Some rich prick who thinks he can just swoop in and play hero? I've known Janice for 6 years. We have history. You have history of putting hands on her, Herman said flatly. That ended the second I found out about it. Janice, Billy shouted past Herman. Tell him. Tell him you still care about me. I don't, Janice said, voice stronger than she felt. I haven't in years. We're done, Billy. We were done the night you hit me. Billy's expression crumpled. I was drunk. I apologized. Apologies don't erase bruises, Herman said. Janice, please. Billy's voice broke. I saw you on TV, all over the news, and I thought, maybe now you understand. Maybe now you get what it's like to need help. I need help. I need money. Just a little bit, and I'll disappear. I swear. There it was. The truth. You came here to shake me down, Janice said, something cold settling in her chest. I came here because I care about you, Billy yelled. No, Herman said. You came here because you thought you could exploit her when she's vulnerable. That ends now. He pulled out his phone and made a call. This is Herman Hopkin. I need you to send someone to the north entrance of my building. Yes. Now. 2 minutes later, a police car pulled up. 2 officers got out. Officers, Herman said pleasantly, this man is harassing one of my residents. He's been told to leave multiple times. I'd like him removed from the property. One officer recognized Herman immediately. Mr. Hopkin, we'll handle it. Billy backed up, panic flashing across his face. Wait, I'm just talking to my girlfriend. Ex-girlfriend, Janice said firmly. Sir, you need to leave, the officer said, hand on his belt. Billy pointed at Herman. You think you're protecting her? You're just using her. She's a paycheck to you, just like she was to me. Herman's expression went ice cold. He stepped forward until he was inches from Billy's face. Listen very carefully, Herman said, voice so quiet it was terrifying. Janice is not a paycheck. She's not a project. She's not something you get to touch ever again. You came here thinking you could intimidate her into giving you money. Instead, you just gave me a reason to make your life very difficult. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave. You are going to stay away. And if I ever see your face near her again, I will ensure that every law you've ever broken, every parole condition you violated, becomes a problem. Do you understand me? Billy's face went pale. You can't. I can. Herman smiled, but there was nothing warm in it, and I will. The officers escorted Billy to the cruiser. He shouted threats the entire way, but they put him in the back seat and drove off. Silence fell over the sidewalk. Janice realized she was shaking. Herman turned to her, and his entire demeanor shifted. The coldness melted away, replaced by concern. Are you all right? He asked. I don't know, she whispered. He pulled her against his chest without asking, just wrapped his arms around her and held her while she tried to remember how to breathe. He's gone, Herman murmured into her hair. He's not coming back. You promise? I promise. They stood there on the sidewalk while the city moved around them. Victor discreetly kept watch from the doorway. People passing by stared, probably recognizing them from the viral video. Janice didn't care. For the first time, she let herself lean into someone else's strength, into Herman's strength. I thought I could handle him, she said against his chest. You don't have to handle everything alone anymore. She pulled back just enough to look up at him. Why are you so good to me? His hand came up to cup her face. Because you're worth being good to. Herman, he kissed her. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't tentative. It was certain, possessive, claiming. And Janice kissed him back with everything she'd been holding in for days. All the fear, the gratitude, the confusion. The growing feeling that she was falling for a man she barely knew but somehow understood completely. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Herman rested his forehead against hers. Come upstairs, he said. Okay. Later that night, Janice sat on Herman's balcony, wrapped in one of his jackets, looking out at the city. The lights seemed less chaotic from up here, more peaceful. Herman joined her, handing her a glass of whiskey. I don't usually drink, she said. You did yesterday, he pointed out. She smiled and took the glass. They sat in comfortable silence for a while. Then Janice asked the question that had been nagging at her. When this is over, when Madison is handled and Billy is gone, what happens to us? Herman didn't answer right away. He took a slow sip of his drink, eyes on the skyline. Finally, he said, "That depends on what you want." "What do you want?" she asked. He looked at her then, really looked at her. "I want you to stay, not because you need protection, not because you're grateful, but because you choose to." Her heart raced. "That's a lot of pressure." "I know." He reached over and took her hand. "But I'm a patient man. I can wait." "For what?" "For you to realize you feel the same way I do." She looked down at their joined hands. His was scarred, rough from a life he never talked about. Hers was smaller, softer, but marked by years of hard work. They shouldn't fit, but they did. "I'm scared," she admitted quietly. "Of me? Of this, of how fast it's happening, of how much I'm starting to need you." Herman squeezed her hand. "You don't need me, Janice. You're strong enough on your own, but you want me. There's a difference." She met his eyes. "Is there?" "Yes." He leaned closer. "Need is desperation. Want is choice. You're choosing this. Choosing me. And you're choosing me?" "I already did," he said, "weeks ago. I was just waiting for you to catch up." A laugh escaped her, shaky but real. "You're impossible. And your mind's perfecta." This time when he kissed her, she didn't hesitate, didn't pull back, didn't question it. She just let herself fall. The next morning, everything came to a head. Herman's phone rang at 6 a.m. He answered it immediately, voice alert despite the early hour. "Marcus, what is it?" Janice sat up in bed, Herman's bed, where she'd fallen asleep after they talked until 3 a.m. Just talked, his arm around her. Safe. Herman's expression hardened as he listened. "When?" A pause. "I'll be there in 20 minutes. He hung up and looked at Janice. "Madison's family called a press conference. They're making a statement." "About what?" "Us, you, me, damage control." He was already getting dressed, moving with efficient precision. "Get ready, we're going." "To the press conference?" "Yes." "Herman, I can't." He stopped and turned to face her. "Janice, they're going to try to discredit you publicly. They're going to call you a liar, a gold digger, a manipulator. If you're not there to face them, they win." "What if I freeze?" "You won't." He walked back to the bed and crouched beside her. "Because I'll be right next to you, and because you're stronger than they are." She took a shaky breath. "Okay, okay. Let's end this." His smile was fierce and proud. "That's my girl." The press conference was held at Pierce Industries corporate headquarters. News vans lined the streets. Reporters crowded the entrance. Cameras everywhere. Herman's car pulled up to the front entrance. Victor and two other security personnel got out first, creating a path. Herman exited the car and immediately extended his hand to Janice. She took it, stepping out into flashing cameras and shouted questions. "Miss Conroy, is it true you're in a relationship with Herman Hopkin?" "Mr. Hopkin, are you using this situation to target the Pierce family?" "Janice, do you regret going public?" Herman's hand tightened on hers. "Walk with me. Don't answer. Don't look down. Head up." She did exactly as he said. Inside, the conference room was packed. Jonathan Pierce, Madison's father, stood at a podium looking older than his 58 years. Madison sat beside him, dressed conservatively, eyes red like she'd been crying. Performing, Janice thought. The room went silent when Herman and Janice entered. Jonathan Pierce's expression flickered between fear and anger when he saw them. "Mr. Hopkin, this is a private press conference." "Nothing's private when you call reporters," Herman said calmly. He guided Janice to seats in the front row. Victor stood behind them like a sentinel. Jonathan cleared his throat. "As I was saying, my family has been the victim of a targeted campaign of harassment." "That's a lie," Janice said. Every head in the room turned. Jonathan's face reddened. "Miss Conroy, you will have a chance to speak." "No," Herman said, standing. "She'll speak now." He looked at Janice. "Go ahead." Her heart hammered, but she stood, facing the room full of cameras and reporters and Madison's family. "My name is Janice Conroy," she said, voice shaking but clear. "A week ago, Madison Pierce threw coffee on me, filmed it, and humiliated me because she thought service workers were beneath her. I'm not here for revenge. I'm here because there are 5 other women who deserve justice. Women who were paid off, threatened, silenced. That's not true, Madison burst out. It is true, Janice continued, louder now. And the evidence proves it. Bank records, videos, testimonies, all of it. Marcus stood up from the back of the room. For anyone interested, full documentation has been released to all major news outlets as of 30 minutes ago. Chaos erupted, reporters shouting questions, Jonathan Pierce trying to regain control. Madison crying, but this time it looked real, not performed. Herman stepped up beside Janice, his presence like a wall between her and the chaos. This conference is over, he said. Not loud, but somehow everyone heard him. Jonathan pointed at him. You did this. You ruined my family. No, Herman said coldly. Your daughter did that. I just made sure the world saw it. You'll pay for this, Jonathan threatened. Herman smiled, the kind of smile that made grown men reconsider their life choices. No, Mr. Pierce, you will. He took Janice's hand and led her out of the conference room. Behind them, reporters swarmed the Pierce family like sharks, scenting blood. Outside, Herman pulled Janice into his arms right there on the steps in front of everyone. You did it, he said into her hair. We did it, she corrected. He pulled back, cupping her face with both hands. You're incredible. You know that? She laughed, tears streaming down her cheeks. I'm terrified. That's what makes you brave. He kissed her in front of every camera, every reporter, every person watching, claiming her publicly, irrevocably, completely. And Janice kissed him back, not caring who saw, not caring what they said. Because for the first time in her life, she wasn't invisible. She was seen. She was valued. She was his. 6 months later, the lobby of Pierce Industries looked exactly the same as it had that night. Same marble floors, same fountain, same lights that never truly slept. But everything else was different. The building had new ownership. Herman's company had acquired Pierce Industries after the scandal destroyed their stock value. Jonathan Pierce had resigned. Madison had pleaded guilty to harassment charges and was serving community service at a nonprofit that helped working-class families. And Janice? She stood in the center of that lobby wearing a tailored suit instead of a janitor's uniform. You ready? Herman asked, standing beside her. I think so, she said. She was here for a meeting with the cleaning staff. Herman had created a new position, worker advocate, someone who made sure every employee, from executives to janitors, was treated with respect. Someone who investigated complaints, pushed for better wages, ensured safety standards. He had offered the job to Janice. She'd accepted. They're going to ask why you're doing this, Herman said. And I'll tell them the truth, Janice replied, because someone did it for me once, and now it's my turn. Herman's hand found hers. After 6 months, the gesture was second nature. She couldn't remember what it felt like not to reach for him. They'd faced a lot together. Media scrutiny, legal battles, Billy's final attempt to blackmail them, which had ended with him in jail for violating his parole. The 5 other women Madison had hurt coming forward, emboldened by Janice's courage. Through all of it, Herman had been there. Steady, protective, hers. You know, Janice said, looking around the lobby, I used to clean this floor every Thursday night. I'd kneel right there by the fountain and wish I was invisible. And now, she turned to face him, now I want everyone to see me, because of you. Herman's expression softened. No, because of you. I just made sure they couldn't look away. She smiled. Same thing. Not even close. The elevator chimed. The cleaning staff began arriving for the meeting. Janice recognized some of them. They looked at her differently now. Not with pity, with respect. Miss Conroy, one of the older women said, smiling, we're so glad you're here. Thank you, Mrs. Chen. I'm glad to be here. Herman squeezed her hand once and let go. I'll be upstairs if you need me. I know. He turned to leave, then paused and looked back. Janice? Yeah? I'm proud of you. Her heart swelled. I know that too. He smiled and disappeared into the executive elevator. Janice took a deep breath and turned to face the group of workers watching her expectantly. Just a few months ago, she'd been one of them. Invisible, exhausted, struggling. Now she was their voice. Thank you all for coming, she began. I know some of you remember me from before, when I worked night shift. When I was just another janitor, nobody noticed. Heads nodded, a few people smiled. I'm here to make sure that changes, Janice continued, not just for you, but for everyone who works in this building. You matter. Your work matters. And if anyone ever makes you feel like you don't, you come to me, because I've been where you are. And I know what it's like to feel powerless. But you're not powerless anymore. We're not powerless anymore. The room erupted in applause. That evening, Janice returned to Herman's penthouse, their penthouse now, exhausted but energized. Herman was on the balcony, tie loosened, sleeves rolled up, looking out at the city they'd both fought so hard to claim. She walked up behind him and wrapped her arms around his waist. How'd it go? He asked. It was perfect, she said. I actually made a difference today. I could see it in their faces. He turned in her arms and pulled her close. You've been making a difference for months. You just didn't realize it. She looked up at him, this man who'd stepped into her life like a force of nature and changed everything. You know what I realized today? She asked. What? The night Madison humiliated me, I thought it was the worst night of my life. Herman's expression darkened slightly. Memory of that night still painful for him. But it wasn't, Janice continued. It was the beginning of the best thing that ever happened to me, because it brought me to you. His eyes softened. Janice, I love you, she said. First time she'd said it out loud. I know it's crazy. I know it's fast. I know people probably think you're just my savior or my protector or whatever. But that's not what you are to me. You're the person who saw me when I was invisible, who stood up for me when no one else would, who made me believe I deserved more than I thought I did. So yes, I love you. And I need you to know that. For a long moment, Herman just stared at her. Then he did something she'd never seen him do before. He smiled. A real smile. Not the cold, calculated one he used for business. Not the small smirk when he won. A genuine, unguarded, beautiful smile. I love you too, he said. I have since the first night I saw you scrubbing those floors like they mattered. Like you mattered. And watching you become the woman you were always meant to be, that's been the greatest privilege of my life. He kissed her, slow and deep and full of promise. When they broke apart, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. Janice's breath caught. Herman, I was going to wait, he said. Plan something elaborate. But then I realized everything about us happened fast. And I don't want to slow down now. He opened the box. Inside was a ring. Simple. Elegant. Perfect. Janice Conroy, will you marry me? She couldn't speak. Tears streamed down her face. She nodded frantically. Yes? He asked, smile growing. Yes, she laughed through the tears. Yes, of course, yes. He slid the ring onto her finger and lifted her off the ground, spinning her while she laughed. When he set her down, she cupped his face with both hands. I can't believe this is my life now. Believe it, he said, because I'm not letting you go. Ever. Promise? I promise. They stood there on the balcony, the city glowing around them. Two people who'd found each other in the worst moment and turned it into the best beginning. Below, the lights of the city stretched endlessly, people rushing to work, to home, to lives that didn't know or care about the janitor who became a voice for the voiceless, or the powerful man who learned that the greatest strength was protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. But Janice and Herman knew, and that was enough. You know, Janice said, leaning against his chest, people are going to have a lot of opinions about us. Let them, Herman said. We didn't build this for them. We built it for us. And for every person who ever felt invisible, Janice added. And for them, Herman agreed. She turned in his arms to face him. I never thanked you properly for everything. You don't need to thank me. Herman, she interrupted. Let me say this. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for standing in up for me. Thank you for making me believe I was worth fighting for. Thank you for loving me. He pulled her closer, voice rough with emotion. Thank you for letting me. They kissed again as the sun set over the city, painting the sky in shades of gold and fire. And somewhere in offices and diners and hotels across the city, Other janitors and waitresses and service workers went about their shifts. Most still invisible, most are still struggling. But because of Janice Conroy and Herman Hopkin, a few more of them had hope. A few more knew their voices mattered. A few more believed that one day someone might stand up for them too. And that was the greatest victory of all. If this story moved you, if you loved watching Janice rise from humiliation to triumph, if you believe in justice and second chances and the power of love to change everything, then subscribe. Join our community. Let us know you want more stories like this. Because your support means we can keep telling these tales of courage, power, and unexpected romance. Click that subscribe button now. You won't regret it.